Hello, good evening from wherever you are watching us today. You're all welcome. Good evening. Okay, just few minutes, please. Okay, good evening, and you're all welcome. My name is Shoma Odikolo. You're welcome to our weekly webinar. You're welcome to our platform, Becoming a Renewed Parent. My name is Shoma Odikolo. I refer to myself as a masterpiece, a renewed parent, and a work in progress. I also refer to myself as a light bearer. So you're welcome. Please drop a comment as soon as you join us. Let us know you're with us. Just say hello, say hi. Okay, so today we're going to move straight into our conversation of today. Today we're going to talk about how we can be intentional learners. So as parents, how can we be intentional learners? Because we have to be intentional learners. In fact, we need to be intentional learners. So what are the strategies? What are the steps? What are the things we can start to do that can help us as parents to be intentional learners? Now we must understand what it means to be an intentional learner. So, an intentional learner is someone that actively seek knowledge and experiences that foster their growth. An intentional learner is a person that actively seeks knowledge and experiences that foster their growth. Someone that goes out to seek for knowledge and experiences that will make the person to grow and not just being like stagnant, but you're intentional about your growth rather than passively absorbing information. So an intentional learner is someone that actively seek knowledge and experiences that foster their growth rather than seeking information, passively. You understand? So intentional learner being intentional about our learning means we going out to seek for growth. We going out to seek for knowledge and experiences that will help us to grow. Not just seeking for information because you want to seek for information, but the difference is that you're seeking out for knowledge. You're seeking out for experiences because you want to grow. So you have a purpose for seeking that knowledge. Your purpose or your aim is to grow. So as parents, you must understand that our children learn by watching us. When we as parents embrace this intentional learning, when we as parents embrace going out to seek for knowledge, it makes us, even our children, to demonstrate curiosity, resilience, and adaptability. When we go out to seek for knowledge as parents intentionally, it makes our children to develop resilience. It makes our children to be curious. It makes our children to also want to grow as parents, because definitely as parents, whatever we do have a way of rubbing off on our children. Now, we must remember as parents that growth does not stop at any stage of our lives. You can't get to a particular stage and say, oh, I've stopped growing. No. You can't get to, maybe you're now a parent, you have a child, and say, no, I'm a parent, I know everything, I've stopped growing. No, you can't get to any point in time at your life or at our life or in our life and say we have stopped growing. No, we have to continuously grow. Growth is a continuous process, because life presents us with different challenges. Even parenting presents us with different challenges as parents. So at each stage, there's one challenge we need to deal with or the other. So we need to grow to be able to deal with challenges that comes to us at each stage of our lives. We need to learn, we need to learn so we will be able to deal with challenges that comes to us at different stage of our life. So growth is a journey. Growth is consistent. You don't get to a particular point and say, no, I've stopped growing. Oh my God, I've stopped reading book. I've finished reading all the book. Some of us will say, all the book I read when I was in school. No, I'm not reading again. No. Growth is a journey. It has to be continuous. Now, what are the ways? How can we intentionally grow, or how can we be intentional learners? Now, we have to identify areas for us to grow. We have to self-reflect as parents. So we have to reflect on our strengths. We have to reflect on our weaknesses. We have to reflect on the areas we need to improve as parents. It could be in our parenting, it could be in your career, it could be in other aspects of your life. It could be your communication, it could be how to resolve conflicts, it could be how to improve a relationship with your children, it could be how to manage stress, it could be how to be patient. But we have to come to that point of reflecting the areas we need to grow in. Now we have to set intentional goals. We need to learn how to set small and specific goals in these areas we want to improve on. So for example, you want to improve on your patience. You need to set a small goal on improving on your patience. You could say, okay, for today, I'm going to observe myself to ensure I'm patient in my reaction. I'm calm, I take deep breaths, When you identify the areas you need to improve on, then you now set your goals towards achieving it. For example, if you have a goal of reading, if you observe that you've not been reading and you need to start reading, one of the ways of setting the goal is by saying, okay, today I'm going to ensure that every day I read for 10 minutes, or every day I read one page of a book. It's a way of setting a goal in that area or that aspect of where you need to improve on. Now we must find the resources. After setting the goals to achieve our growth, we must find the resources that can help us. We must find the appropriate books that can help us improve or grow in these areas we have identified. We must find maybe a parenting group. If you need to improve on your, if you definitely we need to improve on our parenting. Parenting is a journey, so we all have to learn. You can seek out for parenting groups, parenting courses, parenting books, parenting webinars. You seek out for podcasts, you seek out for relevant resources that can help you in the area you've identified you need to grow. Then the other thing we need to do as parents is that we have to create learning routines for ourselves, for our children, and in our homes. We have to dedicate time for learning. So as parents, we need to set aside time for reading. It's not just our children that we read. It's not good enough for us to be telling our children, oh, you go and read your book. Have you read your book today? Have you done your assignment? While we as parents, sometimes we're not doing what we're asking our children to do. So we have to intentionally set time for us, ourselves as parents, to read. We have to intentionally set time for ourselves to listen to podcasts. We have to intentionally set time for ourselves to attend courses, to attend webinars that relate to our parenting growth, that relate to our personal growth. Now, we have to understand that as parents, we need to practice curiosity and asking questions. That is another way we can become intentional learners. We have to be curious. We have to ask questions. As parents, sometimes we are shy of asking questions. Sometimes we don't want to ask. You're like, I don't know what this other person will say. This person will say, I don't know this thing. Who me? I don't know this thing. No, we don't have to be shy of asking questions. We have to ask questions. We have to practice curiosity. And one of the ways we can be curious is by maintaining a curious mindset. It's not just enough for our children to learn things about themselves and about the world. Even we as parents should have a curious mindset. We should have the mindset of curiosity. We should have the mindset of knowing things about the world, of knowing things around. We should have a curious mindset. When you come into a place, just be curious. Why is this thing like this? Why is this thing like this? Even when someone is teaching you, someone is explaining a concept, or someone is telling you something, we should be curious to want to know, to want to learn, to want to improve. That is one way we can be intentional learners. And we as parents, we have to model curiosity. We have to model being curious to our children. We have to ask open-ended questions. We can ask her, don't ask your children closed-ended questions. Don't ask your children questions that will make them answer yes or no. Ask open-ended questions. questions that will bring about conversation, questions that will make your child to start to tell you about something. We must ask open-ended questions. When we do that, we give our children opportunity for them to be curious. Even we as parents, as I said earlier, have to be curious. And one of the ways we can be curious is by asking questions. Let's be comfortable with asking questions. Let's be comfortable with learning from other people that have gone ahead of us, other people that are doing what we are doing. You can see a system working. You can see something working. You can see someone improving in this area. Let's be comfortable with asking other people for help. Another way we can be intentional learners as parents is to focus on our growth over perfection. So as parents, we must focus on our growth. We must focus on the process over progress. We must focus on our process, not the end result. We must learn to celebrate small wins. We must learn to celebrate small wins as parents. You've done something, you've achieved something, then celebrate it. For example, you did not shout at your children today, celebrate it. You managed your time very well. You went to work early, you went to your events early, you went to church early, celebrate it. We must learn to celebrate our small wins. We don't have to wait till everything is 100%, then you now be saying, oh no, I have to get it 100% before I appreciate myself. We must learn to celebrate small wins. You read a book today, you read a page of a book, celebrate it. We must learn to celebrate our small wins. We must emphasize that, learning intentionally, it's a journey, and the small steps count. The little steps we make on a daily basis count, because it's a little step that will sum up and add to a big step. It's just the way that you have alphabet, different. It's just the way everything counts. It's not enough for you to get to the end. You have to start from the beginning, and at the end, everything comes together, and everything counts. We must be kind to ourselves as parents and celebrate our process. No matter how small, celebrate your process, celebrate what you've done, even if it's small, even if you think you've not done so much, you've done something, even if it's small, just celebrate it. Now, we must have a growth mindset. We must understand that we as parents must be okay, as I said earlier, and comfortable with making mistakes, because mistakes are learning opportunities for us, not failures. When you make a mistake, you're not a failure. In fact, you've not failed. You just learned a better way not to do something. So we must be comfortable and okay with making mistakes. We must embrace our challenges. When you make a mistake, you've done something that you're not supposed to do, or you did not get the right process, or you did not get it. We must embrace our mistakes and sit down and learn. What are the lessons I need to pick from here? What do I need to improve on? What do I need to work on? And we must model open learning from our experiences. Learn to share your experiences with your children. Learn to share your learning with your children. Express it, because when we express these things to our children, when we have these conversations with our children, it creates curiosity in them. It makes them to be curious, to want to learn and want to improve. Another way we can be intentional learners is to involve ourselves and every member of our family in lifelong learning. Learning is lifelong. Learning does not stop. You don't get to a stage and say, oh, I've stopped learning. Oh, I've finished school, I've finished university, no more reading book. That is what some of us say, but we don't stop learning. Learning is a lifelong journey. We must learn together as parents, with our children, with our spouse. We must learn together. As parents, we must learn from our experiences. We must even pick up projects as parents to do, so everyone can learn from it. We must learn new skills. What are those skills you need to improve on? What are those areas you need to improve on? We must learn to improve on those skills. And we must create a learning culture in our homes. How is your home? Does your home fosters learning? Is your home a learning? Is the environment or the space safe for learning? Do you have a culture or a system of learning in your home? So as parents, if we must be intentional learners, and if we want our children to be intentional learners, we must create the right environment that encourages curiosity in ourselves and in our children. And how can we create this environment? Get books around your house. Discuss, have conversations when you're having your meal. Have conversations with yourself, yourself with your children. Don't be on your phone and pressing your phone. Discuss, have conversation, share your experiences, write out, fill up your journals. When you do this, you're creating a learning culture in the home. Everyone will want to learn. Everyone will want to improve because they can see that we, the parents, we are doing it. Now we must teach our children that we as parents, another way we can improve our learning is just we have to stay consistent and we have to be resilient. We have to be consistent. We have to be consistent and committed to our learning. You don't learn today and say, oh no, tomorrow I'm not learning. You don't read a book today, a page of a book, and say, I've read, oh, tomorrow I'm not reading. No, we have to be committed and consistent. We have to commit to our small regular practices. When you set up a goal to achieve something, just be committed with your small regular practice. Don't aim to achieve 100% the first day you're setting your goal. Just start with small steps. Start with baby steps. For example, you have a goal of reading a book. Okay, you can tell yourself that every month I'm going to read one book. How do you start? You don't just start one day, I want to finish that book. You can. Sometimes it might overwhelm you. Sometimes you might not finish it up. So what you can start to do, or what we can start to do, is by saying, okay, every day I'm going to read 15 minutes. Every day I'm going to read a page of a book. You must be committed to this small and regular practice. Because the more we are committed, the more it's just like it's leading you to achieve your goals. We should not overwhelm ourselves. We should grow within our pace. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't say, oh, I must read 5 books this month. No, start with baby steps. You can start with reading 1, you move to 2, you move to 3, you move to so many as your strength and your ability can carry. Even if it's 10 minutes a day you dedicate to your learning, it is small. What matters is for us to stay true, for us to commit to this 10 minutes daily, and for us to be regular, to practice it regularly. Then we must adapt when necessary. When sometimes there could be changes in our pattern, in our schedules, we must learn to adapt to things that we're not planned for. We must learn to adapt to things that are unpredictable. As parents, we must find a level ground. For example, you plan to read your book, every page of your book every day, and you just found out that this particular day you were not able to read because of something. You don't just sit down and say, oh my God, I did not read, so I'm not going to continue. I did not read today, so I'm not going to continue. No, you get up, you bounce back and say, okay, I did not read, how can I make it up? So we must learn to adapt to situations. We must learn to adapt to changes. Even while we are growing, we must learn to adapt to changes and ensure that we fix everything. We put everything together such that we are still growing and not just sitting down and saying, okay, I'm not growing and giving up. No. And finally, we must reflect on our process as parents. Every day, every month, every hour, every time, we should always reflect on our process. Reflect on what you are doing. Reflect on how you are growing. Are you improving? Are you transforming yourself on a daily basis? My coach will say recreating yourself. Are you recreating yourself? Are you reparenting yourself? Most of us complain. You say, oh, my parent did this, my parent did that. Do you know we have the power to recreate ourselves? We have the power to reparent ourselves. It comes from a point of reflection. You might not know this except you sit down and reflect. Except you sit down and reflect on everything that has happened to you, your journey as a parent, your growing up and everything. So we must find time to reflect. We must find time to reflect on our process. We must find time to reflect on our growth. Ask yourself questions like, am I growing? Am I improving? Am I learning? Am I transforming myself? Am I being a better version of myself? Am I achieving my goals? What am I doing on planet Earth? It comes from a place of reflection, and that is one thing as parents we have to start doing. We need to even do it. Reflecting. So that is it for us today. So in summary or in conclusion, we must remember as parents, we have to be intentional learners. If we are intentional learners, it will rub off on our children. Our children will definitely be intentional learners. So what would you be doing differently? What are you going to model to your children? You have to model intentional learning to your children, so it will be easy for them to pick it up. So let's go through the steps and start to run. Pick one and start to implement what you have to do for us to grow and for us to be intentional learners. So thank you for joining me today. It has been a great time. I learned a lot myself. I enjoyed our conversation. So please catch a replay, drop a comment, and please remember to pre-order my book, Becoming a Renewed Parent. I'll drop the link for us in the comment section for us to pre-order. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Becoming a Renewed Parent. Thank you for your time. I do not take your time for granted. Until I come your way next time, this is Chioma Odukolo here, and have a good day. Bye.